Let me share an ingenious way to transform a simple setup like this into something like this, or this, or even this. And this is a very basic setup that requires no modeling or texturing and is absolutely perfect for beginners. So let's jump right in. Delete the default cube as always and add a Suzanne. Reset the camera rotation and position and align it facing our object just like this. Now select the object and press R twice to rotate the object so that it's facing the camera slightly, like this. Add a subdivision modifier to the object and set the value to 3 and set it to shade smooth. Actually, I'm gonna set this to rendered view. Yeah. Now delete this default light and add a spotlight. Change the value to something much higher like 10,000 and adjust the position, spot size and blend value so that it's covering half of the object. Now duplicate the spotlight and cover the other half. I'm going to use this color for the first spotlight and I'm going to use this color for the second one. Now let's add an area light to cover the bottom part of the object. Rotate the light 180 degree. Add a color and set the value to something like this. Alright, looking good. I'm going to change the resolution to a more portrait style and set the world strength to 0. Alright, let's render this out. Perfect, it's looking good. I know it's nothing out of the ordinary, but let's move to compositing where all the magic happens. Click on Use Node and Ctrl-Shift-Click to add a viewer node. Let me just set the image on the right like this. Alright. Add a glare node. Set this to streaks, quality to low, iterations at 4, color management to 0, mix to 0.4, threshold to 0, streaks to something like this, and set an angle of 60 degree. That's a lot of numbers. With the hard part done, now just duplicate this node and change the mix to 1. Actually, I'm going to increase the fade a bit on both of these. Yeah, that's looking good. Now duplicate this again and set the mix to -1. You see? Alright, perfect. Slightly adjust the offset angle on both of these for added variation. Something like this. And duplicate this one more time and paste it at the start of the node chain. Set this to bloom, quality to high, mix to 0 and threshold to 0.4. Perfect. And now for the final touch. Add a lens distortion node at the end and set the dispersion to 0.4 and the distortion to -0.6. And that's it. It's looking good. Now plug the final output to the composite. Only thing to remember is the gradient effect completely depends on the lighting setup. So if you change the lights, you'll end up with a different gradient. So go crazy with it. Now this trick works with any object. For instance, if I move this aside and bring back the default cube, it would look something like this. Pretty neat, huh? And did you know if you click here and set this to always, you can see your composite in rendered view live. although it's not quite accurate since it's rendering in Eevee, but it gives you a taste of your final output, so you can adjust your lighting like a pro. Alright, let me revert this back and render this out. Cool, that's a nice looking gradient. Let's move to Photoshop for final edits. Now, this part is completely optional and up to you how you want to use this, but I'm just going to give you an easy example of the use case here. So I particularly like this part of the gradient, so I'm just going to rotate and scale on this part like this. Let's add some noise to give that grunge and grainy effect, and let's add some text. This all is completely random, so you don't have to follow this. I'm just making it as I go. I'm thinking of having a title and some body text like this, and maybe some subtext like this somewhere over here. Yeah. Now let's add some geometry to this. I'm gonna add a rectangle with stroke and align it just like this. Yeah, that looks good. Let's add another one and make this horizontal just like this. Alright, let me realign the text, and I'm gonna add some joining points to this to add some more accent. Yeah, looking good. Cool. Let's add some more accent lines. So let's rotate this and hide all of this. Actually, let me rotate this the other way. Yeah. Add some lines along the curves of the gradient. I'm using a small brush for this, with the opacity set to less than 10, maybe. Yeah. Perfect. Let's adjust the levels, and yeah, there you have it. Try making your own arrangements, moving things around, see what works for you. And there are a ton of use cases for this. For example, another version with some variable blur on the title, some random text to go with it, and I inverted the gradient like this, and voila, you have another iteration of the same gradient. The only limit is your imagination and creativity, so go crazy with it. And if you like this, I'm sure you're gonna love what I have planned for you guys next, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, you can go check out this beautiful coffee mug texturing video. See you there.